go ahead and get started. So it is Monday Night Bass. So thank you everybody for joining me for this Monday, good start to the week. We're doing some different warm-ups tonight. So I'm just changing them up every couple of weeks because I get bored easily. So our warm-ups tonight, actually if you were with me on Saturday morning, it's the warm-ups that we started with Saturday morning. So let's start with some shoulder rolls to the back. So nice big shoulder rolls. Take your time really rolling back. And then my feet are out a little bit wider than hip width. And I'm going to do a nice torso twist. I'm doing 10 to each side. Alright, and then I'm going to open my feet out nice and wide. Sink down kind of low. This isn't necessarily a squat, but we're just sinking down a little bit. I'm resting my hands on my knees. And I'm going to drop one shoulder down at a time. So I'm getting a torso twist and a shoulder drop. So you should feel this through your back and your shoulders a little bit. Back to center in between, dropping that shoulder down. We're doing 5 each side. Keeping your feet out wide, toes pointed out, so you want your knees and your toes tracking in the same direction. We start with a nice deep squat, and I find the first time down, I kind of have to work my way into it, find where I really want my feet to be. Get into that nice deep squat. I'm going to take a hold of my feet. And then stand up. Straighten out those legs as you hold onto your feet so you get a nice hamstring stretch. Sit down again nice and deep. And straighten back up. And we're doing 10 of these. Nice and low. Straighten those legs out as much as you can as you stand up. And after your 10th, shake your legs out just a little bit, and then we're going to go into some skater lunges. So you're stepping back on this with the same foot as the hand you're reaching forward. So I'm going to step back, touch down, step and touch. And again, we do 10 each side. All right, so 10 each side. And after your 10th, I'll go ahead and talk you through our workout for tonight. So we are doing 3 rounds, 30 seconds of work to 35 seconds of rest. So 30 seconds is a good amount of time for you to kind of push yourself. You can push all the way through, but also pace. So it's a mix of both. You don't want to go full out because it's 30 seconds, but you do want to push yourself because you get a little bit longer rest than you have work. So just keep that in mind. It's 30 seconds and then you get 35 seconds of rest. So we are starting with a box bridge. So you can do this. I have a little bench. I'm going to put my feet up on the bench. If you don't have something to elevate your feet, that's fine. You'll just do a regular bridge from the floor. And it's resisted. So if you have weights, I'm going to take one dumbbell in each hand. My heels go on my bench. I'm going to rest the weights right on my pelvic bones, press through my heels, and drive the hips up. Drop the weights if you don't want to have the weights and just do it elevated. Or if you don't have anything to elevate, you would just have feet on the floor, squeezing your glutes to come up into that hip bridge. So a couple of different options, elevated or not, weighted or not. And then you'll clear that out of the way because you need a little bit of space for a broad jump. So my feet are nice and wide. I'm going to swing my arms and jump. And I really only have room to do this once. So however much space you have, but it's a nice swing of your arms. Alternately, if you don't want to jump, you see what I did just there? Down like you're going to, come up onto your tiptoes. So it's a squat down, come up onto your tiptoes. So if you don't want the jump, you're gonna squat down and come up onto your tiptoes. That's the broad jump. Bent over swimmer's pull. I'm gonna use pretty light weights for this. Bend over, hinge at the hip, pulling belly button up towards the spine so your back isn't playing along. Like I'm going to do a row, but it's a swimmer's pull instead. So I start with my arms out to my side, palms facing into my hips as I start. And then I'm gonna reach up overhead and reach up. So as I reach up, I'm rotating. So as I come up overhead, my palm is facing down. So the whole time too, I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm working my center to support so my low back isn't getting involved. And then sit-ups down on the floor. Bend the knees. You can have hands across your chest. You can do light fingertips at the base of your skull, however you want to do them. It's 30 seconds of sit-ups. Plank with hip tap. So stay down on the floor. High plank. Tapping back on your hips. Making sure as you're doing this that you're not twisting at the hip. You want to stabilize, tap, stabilize, tap. So think for that, just that brief moment of stabilizing before you lift your hand back to tap. And then I have a sumo squat. I'm going to grab a kettlebell. You can grab whatever weight you want. Toes, feet are out wider than hip width, toes pointed out, knees tracking in the same direction as your toes, and I squat. Batwing, bent over row. Again, setting up in that bent over position, bend to the knees, hinge at the hip, and I'm going to alternate. So I'm also going to call this a seesaw here in a moment, but I'm alternating. So it's called a bat wing when you do it as a row, and then we go into a seesaw overhead press. So again, they're both moving at once. You don't wait, they kind of meet in the center, so you don't wait until you're done to start moving the other. You're going to work them both at the same time. So those are our 8 exercises. 30 seconds of work, 35 seconds of rest, and we go through 3 times. Are we good? Zoom, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so we start with that box bridge. So go ahead and grab something, if you have it, to put your feet up. Resistance, whatever weight you have. If it's 2 dumbbells, you'll place them right on your pelvic bones. If you have a kettlebell, maybe you can put it right in the center. but just kind of resting right along the pelvis. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer. Facebook, good, you're still with us. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go ahead, come on down. Whether your feet are on a box or on the floor, either way, drive through your heels. And support that weight, however you're using it. So if it's 2 dumbbells, 2, 1. That was it. That was our 30 seconds of work. Again, that broad jump is next, or the deep squat. Again, like you're going to do the broad jump, so you squat down deep and then stand up onto your toes. Squat down and stand up. So however you want to do it. If you want to actually jump, I suppose too, you could just jump in one place. If you don't have room to jump forward, you could do a nice big jump squat. So however you want to do it. I'm going to squat and come up on my toes. So I'm working my calves a little bit here. It's a little more of a power move if you're jumping forward. And that's it. Rest. We go into that bent over swimmer's pull. So again, setting up like we will, or like we do for a bent over row. My spine is nice and straight. Pull your belly button up. Palms facing the hips when they're down. Rotate as you come up overhead. And alternate. And let's go. Hinge forward. Nice and strong. Get that little bit of rotation at the top and pull that belly button into your spine. You might also feel at the bottom, I get a little bit of a tricep kickback right at the bottom. Just push back that little bit extra. And we rest. Sit-ups are next. Sit-ups and then the plank with the hip tap, so we're down 2 in a row. Again, your choice if you want to have hands crossed over your chest for these sit-ups or light fingertips. If your hands are at the base of your skull, though, just make sure that you're not pulling on your head. You're not pulling on your neck at all. We're ready in 3, 2, 1. Feet down. So you're driving your heels into the floor. Ten seconds. And again, we stay down for those plank with hip taps. Every time you get ready to raise one of your hands off to tap back to your hips, I want you to think about hips closed to the floor, hips closed to the floor. So just take that brief pause to think, square my hips, tap, square my hips, tap, so that you're not twisting at the hip. It's not a hip drop, it's a straight plank with a hip tap. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. So I would rather you take your time and do less of these and have no movement or very, very little movement through the hips than to hurry through them and be twisting through the torso. 10 seconds. And we're done with that one. Next is our sumo squat. So whatever weight you have, if you have a dumbbell, you'll hold it in a goblet hold, which is your hands at the top of the weight, the other half hanging, or a kettlebell, whatever you have, your 8-pound jug of, gallon jug of whatever. Feet out wider than hip width, knees and toes tracking in the same direction. 2, 1. Squat down nice and deep, keeping your chest upright. Less than 10 seconds. 2, 1. Batwing bent over row. So setting up just like we were for that swimmer's pole. Hinging at the hip, strong through the center, bent knees, and you're going to alternate seesaw with that bent over row. Keep thinking, belly button up to your spine so that your low back is supported. 2, 1. And remember, we're moving them both at once. You're not waiting until one is up. They're kind of meeting in the center. All right, the last one is that seesaw overhead press. I want to say too, if you don't want to press weight overhead, you can do this one from the floor. So you can do a seesaw press from the floor, which I think I'm actually going to do. This is my wonky shoulder. I can lift more weight pressing up from the chest than overhead. So join me down on the floor if you want. It's your choice, or maybe do one way, try the other way. Still a seesaw though, you're moving them both together. So as one is coming up, the other is coming down. Two, one, and that's our first set. So we have 35 seconds of rest before we go into round 2. Again, we start with the box bridge. So I'm going to get my weights ready. I'm going to pull my bench over. 15 seconds to go. And let's go. Driving through your heels, squeezing your glutes. Fifteen seconds. All right. Set the weights and the box aside. The next is that broad jump, jump squat, or squat to tiptoes, depending on how you're doing it. Again, I'm opting to not do the broad jump because that basically takes me from one side of my room to the other and I go crashing into the wall. So I'm going to do, like I'm jumping, I'm going to squat down and I'm going to step up on my toes. So I'm getting my calves involved now. Deep squat, come up on my toes, deep squat. if you're doing that, really take a second. Feel those calves squeezing as you're up on your toes, and then come down. We're doing sumo squats later. So drive up. Feel the power, just like you're coming up off the floor. 2, 1. Bent over swimmer's pull is next. So again on this one, when your hands are back at your sides, your palms are facing in, you're going to rotate as you're sweeping up. So your palm is facing down. Rotate, rotate. 15 seconds. And again, when you're extended all the way back, see if you can't feel a little bit of a tricep kickback right there at the bottom. 2, 1. Hinging at the hip, but your chest is still up. You shouldn't be looking at the floor. You want to be looking up ahead. 2, 1. Sit-ups and planks, 2 in a row, down on the mat. So sit-ups, make sure if your hands are behind your head that you're not pulling at your neck at all. No stress on the cervical spine. 10 seconds, getting ready. 3, 2, 1. Keep those feet down on the floor. Five seconds. 2, 1. Stay down. Plank with the hip tap is next. Focusing on that nice strong plank, keeping your hips square to the floor the whole time. Rule number 1 on this one. Doesn't matter how fast you're going or how many you're able to do. Hips square to the floor. We have about 10 seconds to go. Set up in that nice strong plank. 2, 1. Tapping back, focusing on hips, staying square to the floor. Coming back into that plank, which means hands under shoulders. Done with that one. Sumo squat with a weight. So feet are out wider than hip width. Knees and toes tracking in the same direction. So if you want to go with a really wide plie, you can do that, as long as you're able to get your knees to go out in the same direction as your toes. 3, 2, 1. Upright through the torso. Ten seconds. 5. 4. All right. Batwing bent over row. And going with that same seesaw, so they're both moving at once, crossing in the center, but bent over. Hip hinge. tight through the center. Support that low back as you cross through the center. About 10 seconds to go. 5. Nice and strong. Chest up. And seesaw. So nice and strong through the center. There shouldn't be any torso twisting going on. That's kind of one of the challenges here with the batwing row, is to not twist at the torso. 2, 1. And then the seesaw, either overhead press or press from the floor. Your choice. As you're pressing overhead, if you're choosing the overhead press, if you feel like your low back is arching, make sure that you're squeezing your glutes and you're drawing your center in so that your low back doesn't arch. And if you think you can't do it without arching your low back, come down on the floor with me. 2, 1. Seesaw, they're both moving, crossing in the center. Keep that weight stacked over your shoulders. Five, 2, 1. That was our second round. We have one more round. Again, starting with the box bridge. "20 seconds. One more round, that's it. "10 seconds setting up. 2, 1. Ten. 2, 1. All right, move that box. Set the weights aside. Broad jump is next, or jump squat, or squat to tiptoes, whatever your choice. Whatever you're doing, I want you to feel that power. So imagine what it would take to broad jump and leap up off the floor, and do it even if you're just squatting up onto your toes. Squat up onto the toes, or squat and broad jump. Or squat jump. 10 seconds. 5. And we rest. Bent over swimmer's pull. So same setup as those bent over rows. Bracing in your center. Chest is still up though. You don't want to be looking at the floor. You still want there to be an angle to your back. About 10 seconds. Grab your weights. Bend at the knees. Hinge at the hip. Remember, when my hand is at my side, my palm is facing in. As I'm reaching out, my palm is facing down. 2, 1. Sit-ups and planks are next. Down on the mat. Seconds. My last set of push-ups. You don't have to do any more after tonight. Or, I mean, probably not until tomorrow night or the next night, but no more tonight is what I mean. 5 seconds. Getting ready. Push your feet into the ground and sit up. Less than 10 seconds to go. 2, 1. No more sit-ups tonight. Take a second and we'll get ready for our last set of planks. Hips square to the floor the whole time. Really focusing on that. About 10 seconds. Hands under shoulders. Always coming back to that strong plank. 3, 2, 1. Open your feet out a little bit wider. See if that helps you to keep your hips square. Seconds to go. 2, 1. No more of those tonight either. Sumo squats. Upright through the torso. Holding that weight in front of you. You need to bring your torso upright. Don't let it fall forward. Five seconds. Last set of these. Squeezing your glutes to pop up. Five seconds. Batwing, bent over rows. I keep wanting to call them Batmans. I don't know if that makes it cooler or not, but every time I look at the board, I want to say Batmans. Get ready with your weights. Hinge at the hip, upright through the chest. Bend at the knees. And no twisting through the torso. 3, 2, 1. Just about 10 seconds to go. Our last one is our seesaw press, either overhead or chest press from the mat. This is it, our last 30 seconds of work. This has flown by. I hope you feel that way. I think it has. Getting ready, 5 seconds. 2, 1. Both of them working at once. Seesaw, controlled weight stay right over the shoulders. Two, 1, and that's it. Nice work, everyone. Virtual high fives. Take a second, get some water. We'll do a little bit of stretching to cool down. Facebook, thank you for hanging with us the whole time. Great job. Hope you'll join us Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. for Pilates. And until then, be well, and we'll see you soon. All right, Zoom, how we doing? Okay, thumbs up? Good, good. I see lots of thumbs up. Okay, we're going to finish out with just a little bit of stretching. Feet open, wide. I'm going to do an A-frame stretch. So I'm going to start with my left elbow to my left knee. So I'm hinging at the hip, bending at the knees, and opening up. So I'm an A-frame. Stand up, reach those right fingertips to the ceiling, and switch. Right elbow to that right knee, looking up at my left fingertips, and then reaching left fingertips up to the sky, and we repeat. Torso twist. If you follow your top fingertips with your gaze, it completes the twist. Reaching up. And the other side. And reach up. One more each side. Reach up. And our last one. And reach up. Nice deep breath in. Reach both hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to the mat or hug your elbows for a nice deep bend. Do a little side to side sway. Back to center. Inhale, reach hands up overhead. I'm going to step my right foot forward. Drop my left knee back and reach both hands up overhead. Sinking into a lunge. And then drop that right hand back out behind. Gaze on that right hand. Both hands up. Both hands down to the inside of the right foot. I should have done this sideways. And drop it down into a runner's lunge. And this time, right hand opens up. Right hand back down. And come back up into that lunge. Stand up, we twist out to the other side. So again, left foot forward, reach both hands up and sink into that lunge. Drop your left hand back out behind you, gaze over your left shoulder. Sink it down a little bit more. Both hands back up, and then both hands down to the inside of that left foot. Drop down into a runner's lunge. Open the left hand up. Both hands back down. Come back up into that lunge. Stand all the way up. Couple of high knees, draw them up. All right, shake everything out. I'm going to stop my video. Great work.